Hello and welcome to the Shift into Shape podcast. Gosh, I got to figure out a better name for it, but that's what's rolling off of the tongue at the moment. Today we have Kevin Benner. Gosh, how can am I already messing up? I'll take it. It's Kevin Benner. Kevin is the VP of Business Development at Shape, and his main role is really to grow Shape. And the way that he does that is by helping tech and referral partners maximize their own growth, use the system in the best way, help with efficiencies. And we're going to get right into it. But before I do that, I guess what would you add to that, Kevin? My brief edification of you. What do you do? How do you specifically help?
Well, I mean, ultimately, my goal is to drive sales in Shape and to drive users in Shape, and we do that through a couple of different ways. One, through tech partners in helping them integrate their technology into Shape that provide value adds for our clients, and then the other is through referral partners who, whether it be a consultant who's looking to grow their business or drive a different revenue stream, and has a need, or a client base that has a need for our product, um, or it could be a lead generation company or another marketing firm or another technology platform that has a similar client set that is looking to grow their business, and we try to find ways to partner together and grow each other's business while also providing value add for each other's clients.
Kevin, that sounds both really boring and exciting at the same time. So I guess all right. I want to break this down a little bit, and then I really want to
Sure.
focus a lot on. Okay, so I was going to tell you this before we record, but I really wanted to get this on record. So I just went to a mastermind where we're masterminding about how to make the Momentum Builder community an event a real go-to for the mortgage industry. Now, this isn't a
Sure.
mortgage podcast, but I'm very heavily involved in the mortgage industry. And everybody in the mortgage industry has a CRM and has a lead management system. Some people use a spreadsheet and they're super weak, but
Hmm.
most people have something. And I told people like, hey, I work for Shape and we slay the competition. I mean, we just absolutely run circles around this CRM system, this lead manager. I was like, okay, well, what does it do? And I'm like, well, it does. I mean, like, where do you even start? I mean,
Super simple. I think
okay,
it's a
well, great. Well, then super simple. What does it do?
I think the easiest way to explain it is an best of practice, all in one sales and marketing automation platform. Um,
Okay, wait. No. Stop. This is
yeah,
great. I love this because I think I went down that avenue. Why? How? Hey, I have Total Expert. I have Velocify. I have um Surefire. I
mhm,
have I already have one.
sure. One may be a very good lead management system. One may be a very good CRM. One may actually, be able to take one segment of the sales funnel and do a really good job. I think what Shape's been able to do is take the entire sales funnel and do a very good job with all of it. And in this marketplace, especially in some of the industries we're in, being able to minimize your tech stack while still being able to provide that entire workflow that is needed to convert your opportunities is something that we do really well, and a value add that we bring to all of our clients.
I 100% agree, and it's so hard because it sounds like such a sales pitch. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a cliche. It just sounds cliche. We're an all-in-one, solution, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds like,
Yeah,
dude, I didn't sign up here to get a freaking commercial, given to me. You know what I mean? But it's true though. The
it
thing
is
is,
true.
what if it's true? What if it actually does all of the things? Like, for instance, a prioritized view. Only one system does that really well, but it does everything else, I would argue, terribly, and it's super expensive and clunky to do. What if one system does, keeps all of your notes in one section and does auto drips really, really well, while the other ones don't? And but this one does it. What if it's a
Hmm.
phone solution as well? So okay, all in one tech stack. Yeah, minimizing the tech stack. I think that's a great place to start. So everybody's cutting costs right now in the mortgage industry particularly, but look, we're headed into a recession. I would say every business is going to be trying to cut back in certain ways. And one of the things people are going to look at is going to be their tech stack, their solutions. What are they doing? What can we get rid of? And what can't we do without? And one of the ways to do that is to minimize it all into one system. And by the way, I just got to say this because I didn't say this on the last recording I did. Shape is $99 a month. I mean, it's like cheating, I would argue. Like it's just like so, but it does everything. So how does it minimize the tech stack? What are the solutions that it provides that people are spending hundreds of dollars on in several different technologies?
Well, it has its, we had mentioned before, it has its lead management system. So it's going to be able to take those leads, prioritize them in a way to maximize conversions, and then walk those leads through a contact strategy that's going to maximize conversions. It has a CRM. So it's going to be able to take those relationships that are built over time and those funded, those closed sales, and then those, if you're buying leads, 95% probably are not converting. What are you doing with them? Most people are just letting them sit on the floor until they buy them again in 3 months. Um,
Right.
but your majority of your fundings, or majority of your closings, regardless of your industry, are going to come from the remarketing. And that's something I think we do really well. Not only that, but it's all built. It's pre-built. We have, I think, 53 different drip campaigns pre-built in each of the industries, almost 1,000 templates, whether it's email and text. We have proven conversions on each of those campaigns, and I think that allows for uh, it really allows for our clients to do really well in competitive environments because it's already built, it's already optimized. Can you configure? Can you customize your workflow? Absolutely. Um, but out of the box, ready to go. Doesn't matter if you're a two-person loan officer shop or 1,000-person bank. Um, it already comes, with best practices. And I think the advantage we have is that a lot of our competition, in order to get to that, you have to hire a consultant or you have to have an internal staff that's going to be able to spend 3 months to build something that's already pre-built in our system.
I mean, man, okay, there's a lot of places I want to go with this. So, um, I think that we're literally gonna break down everything that you just said in this show. So there's a couple things that I think again, I'm just calling it out. It sounds salesy and it sounds cliche in some ways. Like lead management priorities. So let's just say you're coming from something like a Total Expert or a Surefire or a gosh, I mean, there's so many that really do. Gosh, there's so many places I want to go. Like even you said 53 drip campaigns. Well, like a 53 drip email is one thing, but a strategy around it when it shows up on your priority view to call, when it shows up to text, when it does it automatically, when it's doing when the status changes, when it calls you and something changes, what happens then? I mean, you're calling a drip. I would when I'm thinking drip campaign, I'm thinking like 53 emails over the course of a year, but that's not what this is. So I guess
No, it
I know
is.
I'm going in two places, but like just start with drip. Like expand on that. What does that actually mean? Like because I'm thinking email drip campaign.
So every campaign could be could start at a different status. So you have a new lead that comes in, and you're going to want obviously phone calls. You're going to want text messages. You're going to want emails going out. And a drip campaign would be a collective of all of those over a given period of time, as long as a certain status is met. Once it leaves that status, it may start trigger another drip campaign that runs off of that one until it moves further down the sales process. Um, the uh, the benefit to having them pre-configured and pre-built out is that a lot of organizations don't have the marketing department or the expertise to be able to configure appropriately drip campaigns that will convert. Anybody can throw email together. Anybody can throw text together, but
Well, here, just to go deeper on it too, is that
Mhm.
like a lot of, especially loan officers, but I would argue real estate agents, insurance agents, financial planners, we're all like AAA type personalities. And like, look, I know the way. That's the best way, you know? But really, you freaking don't. I'm sorry. But like, until you have the data of, I was talking to Danny earlier, she was talking like billions of lead records is the data set. If
Yes.
you had access to a billion lead records, specifically in regards to when's the best time to call, how do you call, and what drives contact rates up, what emails resonate the best with a client in this status, what emails resonate the best in this status, when's the best time to call a referral partner, when's the best time to follow up with a referral partner, how about how many contacts does it take to convert a lead to a closing. If you had a billion lead records and knew exactly what that was, and then you could organize and program your system in a way that optimizes when the loan officer is calling, when the text message is going out to optimize conversion, I would argue your way is the worst way when it's compared to that. Your way might be great for you and great. You can customize stuff. Sure, there's certain things that certain people do that like that don't are done other places. But if there's the perfect time to call, there's a perfect time to call. If there's a perfect time to text, there's a perfect time to text. And if you can organize your lead management around what actually is the best, I would argue just that alone, you could out of the box just do it that way. I guess why not? What would be somebody that says like I don't want to do that. I want to do it my way.
I think a lot of people like to think that they can do it their way, but the reality is that you can only manage so much with your mind. There's only so much that's going to stay in your head on a daily basis. You can there's no limit to the amount of data you can throw into your system, and it will remind you constantly. You have to call this guy now. You have to send this one. You have an appointment now. This person just responded to email. Or it's this person's birthday. Like all those things can be automated. That saves you time and allows you to do what you do best. If you're a closer, that's what you should be doing most of the day, closing. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be looking through your Rolodex trying to figure out who's the next person to call is.
God, that's so great. That's money. I would say that, and you're talking about lead management and a priority view. And look, there's a lot of people that have no idea what that is.
Mhm.
I was just talking to people; they have no idea what that is. And really, you have to have used Velocify to know what a priority view is. You've had to. And so, I guess, in your words, Kevin, what's a priority view?
Organizing your Excel spreadsheets into a way that will get your leads to convert faster.
Man, that was weak, Kevin. That was weak. I'm calling you out.
Mhm.
You're gonna have another try at that. But
Okay.
but here, this is why I say that is because there are people that will look you square in the eye, Kevin, and be like, "Look,
Mhm.
it's all on my Excel spreadsheet." And there are even people that are worse than that. That will say, It's all off of my memory." I was just talking
Yeah.
to a loan officer. I swear to God, he was like, I was like, "What's your CRM?" He's like, "I don't have one." I was like, "Well, then how do you like manage your database?" It's like, "I just off of memory." It was like it was the end of the conversation because I wasn't going anywhere with that. But it's just like,
Mhm.
dude, are you kidding me? Can you imagine how much better you could be if you had a system actually organize this? And dude,
Just
yeah, your memory's top notch, great. I believe you, awesome, but not a chance compared to a computer.
what impact would that particular individual who did everything from memory, what impact to his life would it be if he could close one more deal every month?
How about this? Yes, I'm going to go deeper with it. What impact would it have on their life if they didn't close any more loans, but they just got all that mental space back?
Yeah. I mean, that's really what you're doing is you're freeing up your day so that you can again focus on what you do best. Like don't waste your time having to like why you let's take yeah, why an email campaign. You're not going to send 300 emails at the exact time that you need to send them. Just automate it. Just it's going to get done, and then now when that person responds, then you have an engaged person that wants to talk to you. Spend your time with them. Let the system, let the computer do the rest and take care of it. I mean, we're moving into a world, everybody talks about AI and ChatGPT and, how the world's, AI is going to do more and more. Well, guess what? It is. But that shouldn't be it shouldn't scare people in the way that I'm going to lose my job. It should excite people in the way that I'm going to be able to do my job better, and I'm going to be able to do it more often, and I'm going to be able to close more deals and make more money. And because I'm going to be able to automate those tasks that don't make me money, that don't get me to the end result that I want. And I can waste no time on those because my system can take care of it for me.
Well, 100%, and it's like it goes down to, what kinda 2 things that came to my mind right away was, first off, like, I work out at a gym called F45, and here's how it works. You show up
Mhm,
in your workout clothes. I show up literally late, like, I'm a minute or 2 late, but basically, the first minute is the trainer's telling you what we're gonna do, and you show up, you start your warm up, and on the screen in front of you, it's the people doing the workout that the trainer just told you to do, and you just get in, you do it, you get it done, and in 45 minutes, you have your ass kicked and workout complete, and you've left. Put differently, I don't go there to think. I don't wanna think. I don't wanna get to the gym and think, "Okay, well, what weight should I do this time? Should I do is this a leg day? Is this an upper body day? Is this should I go on the treadmill? How long should I do it?" By the time 2 hours has gone by, you maybe have done 45 minutes of work, but more than likely not, and you've socialized, and you've taken selfies in the mirror, and you've done all these
mhm.
things. It's like, "Look, don't make me think. Don't make me think." And the loan officer, the realtor, the financial planner, the medical sales rep, the whatever it is that's using Shape doesn't have to think. The priority view, and this is kind of what I said, you're gonna have a second try at this, is that it's a list of people right in front of you. Maybe you used to do an Excel spreadsheet, but like that gets chaotic. And how do you know what it is? How about if you don't have to think, you turn on your computer, you log into Shape, and maybe it's already logged into, and you call the first freaking lead. And then after you're done with that, you call the next
Called the
one,
second.
and then the
Yeah,
next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. You call through your entire list, and guess what? You've done every single thing that you can do that's optimized in a way that leads to actual real success based on data, not based on what you think it is.
absolutely. You gave it. That's actually. I'm going to steal that analogy because that's the greatest analogy in the world is to work out at a gym because you don't think, you just do, and you get results. And that is lead management. Just like
Uh,
show up, do, and the results come.
Show up, do, results come. Yes, don't make me think. That's 100% it. And this another analogy is that, like, for instance, Mark Zuckerberg, Barack Obama, most people that execute on a high level, Gary Vee, um, they don't make lots of decisions in a day. They save their decisions for the big things. So like all of them wear the same thing every single day. Barack Obama wears a blue tie every day. Mark Zuckerberg, gray shirt. Gary V puts on his freaking hat. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like, because if you have all these decisions to make, which person to call next, what client to follow up with next, in the order of how am I going to go through my pipeline in the right way? Who are the pre-approved and lookings that I need to follow up with? What are the realtors that I need to follow up with? And I know I'm being more mortgage centric, but this is for everything. Every single
Hmm.
client that you ever have, every single person you have in process, who is the next person that you need to call? Thinking about all of that is just so draining. And then you worry, did I even do it?
Yeah, and that goes back to like just consistency. I think every you had mentioned a lot of great names. The commonality between one of the commonalities between all of them is that they are consistent in their approach, consistent in what they do every day. They take their steps, they work out, they do it every day religiously, and that's what breeds success. I mean, you have to stick to something. You have to be consistent with it in order to be great at it. Baseball players, great baseball players, aren't great baseball players because they show up on a Sunday and want to play baseball. They do it every day. And so, getting into a lead management system, working if you're in a sales environment and you don't have the tools, you don't have the system succeed, you're really succeeding out of pure luck or really lots and lots of wasted energy and too much effort to accomplish really not enough results.
It's okay. And you mentioning AI and how it will eliminate jobs. I think actually, I just to really go deeper on this, I think that it will expose the people that were operating off of what you just said. I happen to be really good at sales, but a lot of times I just get lucky. Like I tend to say, I tend to tell people like, man, I can do a lot just off pure charisma. I can just throw myself into the situation. I'll figure it out until you meet somebody that not only has charisma like you, but is executing at a disciplined high level. You're going to be exposed big time. And I've walked into rooms where, wow, they're a pro. I'm an amateur. And my charisma of just throwing myself at it and working and figure it out as I go doesn't really stand up to someone who is like a Kobe Bryant, or like somebody that is, I come into the gym at 4 a.m. and I'm done before you even show up to your first workout. And then, oh, by the way, I have a second and third and fourth workout. You have one workout a day. 5 years from now, I'm going to be so advanced and ahead of you. But that's the thing. So to talk about lead management and priority views, the people that leverage technology and leverage AI are going to be the Kobe Bryants when you're just showing up being whatever. You didn't even make the team, because
Yep.
charisma doesn't work. Sales doesn't work. If you only get 3 at bats and the person leveraging technology gets 300, who's going to win? It's not fair. It is not fair, and it's not made to be. And the person that does leverage it isn't playing to make it easier for you. No, they're making it easier for them
Mhm.
to destroy the competition.
Yeah. You look at a company like Quicken. We talked about mortgage, so I'll use this analogy. I mean, you look at a company like Quicken, and it's not that they've got the best salespeople. It's not that they
Nope.
have the best product.
Nope.
They have a system that works, and they manage to that system religiously.
Oh,
And the expectation, the execution on that system is a must, and that's why they are successful.
let's talk about that. So, that's just such a great example, and it's relevant, especially to loan officers nowadays. If you look up in every single county in the United States, the top 5 companies that close loans, Quicken is in every single county, top 5, every single county. I don't care what your local bank is. I don't care what it is. These are the stats. Every single county in the United States, top 5 Quicken. Why? Why? Because what you just said, they leverage
Yeah.
technology. Are their salespeople better? I would argue they're actually worse than your assistant. Your assistant is a better salesperson than the average person at Quicken Loans. Actually, I take that back. I'm definitely knocking Quicken. They've done amazing things.
Yeah.
And like, look, what do I know? I guess is the point. I've never worked at Quicken, but I've competed against Quicken, and I know a lot of loan officer friends that compete against Quicken, and they're made fun of. Like, shh, you went with Quicken? You got a pre-approval letter from Quicken? Well, yeah, they're top 5 in every county in the United States. I, you can make fun of them
And
all you want, and there's a
they have
reason why.
great there's great employees there. There's great
Yes,
people, but in order, they've built a process that allows them to scale, allows them to replicate, allows them to take those B salespeople and get the most out of them every day. Because you can't just rely on your A salespeople when you get to that level. You need to be able to squeeze the juice out of everybody.
100%, especially at that level. And what if you could compete with a Quicken on a technology level
Absolutely.
for $99 a month? My goodness. Okay, so I want to walk through a contact strategy. So you were talking about that, kind of going over the overview. People don't understand a call strategy or a contact strategy. I think that's a high level lead management kind of term. What is it, and what is the best way to do it?
So a contact strategy is just as is the ultimate is just to get the person on the phone. How am I going to communicate with this borrower? The one thing you don't know whenever you get an opportunity, or most likely do not know, is what is their desired method of communication. So you need to cast in the beginning at least a wide enough net to be able to find that. What is it? Text? Is it chat? Is it email? Does he like talking on the phone? It's like, what is the best method to communicate? Once you find that, then you can drill into that and get that person to close. Great. But a contact strategy is really trying to you have lines in the water, and you're trying to figure out, what's the tuna going to hit on today. And that's really what a contract strategy is. And is there a perfect one? Um, I think no. I think it depends on the organization, depends on the industry, it depends on a few different things. But in general, you want to have a contact strategy that is going to be to dictate enough upfront, early stage attempts at communicating, so that you can be ideally the first person they talk to. We know, regardless, everybody knows it. The first person somebody talks to, I think it's like 70% of them are going to convert with that, sales rep that they speak with. So being that first person is important. So you need to get, whether it's an initial outreach lead comes into your CRM. I mean, we have communications with people in some industries, and they're like, "Oh, if we call the person within the first 5 minutes, I feel like we did our job." And I'm like, "You already lost, because those after 5 minutes, your conversion rate starts deteriorating really bad because your competition's already talked to them."
100%.
Um,
And you're kind of getting at, does your call strategy, does your contact strategy, does your strategy in general align with what works and what works best? Because
yeah,
you're right. Well, if I called in 5 minutes, check the box. That would be your way. But what if your way isn't the best way? And it takes humbling of a CEO. It takes the humbling of a top producing loan officer, top producing realtor, top producing insurance, whatever it is, recruiter. It takes it takes you to look in the mirror and say, I don't know everything. And I'm going to trust that the way that works based on data is the way that I'm going to do it. And that's tough to do. So I guess here, talking about that, how do you shift somebody's mentality from I know what's best to here's the data, just do this?
I think that can be difficult. A lot of it's a culture thing for an organization. It has to come from the top. There has to be a belief from the top that this focus, this method of sales is the way and it works. If you don't have buy-in from the top, it's very difficult to make it work. And if I think once you do that and create a culture where there is a need and desire and a must to follow a call strategy, I think the rest follow in line pretty quickly. And then I think it's very easy because in very few situations, if someone buys in just for 30 days into an actual contact strategy, an actual lead management strategy, very few of them are going to perform worse than what they did today, what they're doing today.
I Yeah, I would argue too is that you'd actually see some really great results. So
Yes.
on that level is that y- y- a lot of these decisions are made by the head, by the top of the funnel, the CEO, for instance, or the leader of the team, whether that be whatever industry. And some of them aren't even calling the leads. Some of them they have dialer to put into that particular role. So how do you sell that to the person that's actually making the calls? Or here, you're making the calls and maybe you did it a certain way. How do you sell like this is the right way to the team?
Um, uh, Again, it's just numbers. You have to be able. You have to start with what is best practices for your industry. What is, use the numbers in regards to first contact, speed to contact, and then I think it takes over itself. If you get once they get working into that, it doesn't take much for someone to buy in when they have three times the number of conversations they did the day before.
Okay, so all right, how much time does it take for someone to become a believer? Like, hey,
Again,
I
yeah.
don't want to do this. Look, leader, you're telling me I got to call this priority view. I got to do it in this order. Look, you're telling me I got to do it. All right, fine. I'll give it a try. How long until, generally speaking, does somebody become a believer in? All right, I was doing it my way. I didn't think this was going to work. Now I clearly see this works.
It can happen pretty quick. Like in previous life, I did marketing for a mortgage company, and we had a new contact cadence that we wanted to set up, and there was pushback. And I asked a few of the loan officers, just give it a week, just try it, just do what I ask. Let's see what happens at the end of the week. And they had their best week ever, and it was an easy buy-in. After that, once they came in, no one complained. There was, they can do it. Anybody can.
Right.
So it's usually a pretty easy, but it's be it buy-in as long as you have that direction. And I think ultimately it's a culture thing. You have to have. Success breeds success, and if your culture and your sales culture is to work a system, work a process, maximize conversions, maximize your ability to convert. And it comes in at the early stage from, whether it's training or whether it's, onboarding new sales reps. If it comes in from a culture built from the top, that all comes downhill really, really well. And then it's easy. I mean, once they get in and start working it and they start seeing positive results from it, that it sells itself.
I mean, you're right with that too. I would say too, if you make it easier on the person doing the work and it increases not just their productivity, but their closing rates, and they make money off of that, I mean, you're right. I can't see how that long it's going to take for me. Like to go back to working out analogy, I only wanted to work out twice a week when I started out working out there, but I ended up doing it built my self-esteem right away. I felt good. I just went, I
Yeah.
did it, I got it done. I was like, wow, I got my ass kicked. I feel great. And then I set a goal for 2 a week and I ended up doing 4 a week because it was easy, because I didn't have
Hmm.
to think, because all I had to do was show up. And it like I had to show up in my workout clothes, sure, but like you're already showing up to work. You already have a phone in front of you. You already have your computer screen there. Why not make it so that it's literally a screen in front of you where you just follow what to do? So I want to move on.
Okay.
I want to talk about remarketing. You're
Sure.
talking about how I forget what stat you gave, but well, here just to give you Danny was telling me this. It takes an average of 17 contact attempts to get a closing
Yep.
across industries, all across every industry out there, based on billions of lead records. Meaning, a lead went into the system. It took 17 tries before that became a money in the bank type of a situation, a closing, a sale, a whatever it is. Talk about remarketing, because I think a lot of people really struggle with, and I did this too. I knew this going into it, and I had to figure out ways around it to make a solution. But a contact is not a sale. If you go from an uncontacted lead to a contacted lead with nothing happening afterwards, that's not a win. Deeper with that, with loan officers, especially right now, it's not even an application is a win. A pre-approval isn't a win. Like you can have 1,000 pre-approvals out there, but if none of them get to a closing or during the process they fall off, that's not a closing. That's not money in the bank. So talk about remarketing and effectively squeezing all of the juice out of people that you already have made contact with.
Absolutely. I think with regards to remarketing, really all you're trying to do is keep the pulse of that opportunity until they're ready. Because they weren't ready when you initially spoke to them for one reason or the other. They just started looking for a house, or they haven't bought a new car yet, or they're doing something that that wasn't allowing them to say yes. So you remarketing really is keeping yourself top of mind with them often enough so that when they are ready to say yes, you're the one they think about. I look at pre-approvals. Depending upon the market you're in, you could be in a pre-approval stage for a while, where you can be looking for a house for a long time. Um, too many loan officers. It's a chase to how many pre-approvals can I get? Well, none of that matters if you're not nurturing those opportunities. So when they do find a house, you're there and you can provide the loan.
100%. And any loan officer can, gosh, relate to that. How many people have you followed up with finally 6 months later and said, "Oh, I closed last month."
Yep.
Oh, yeah, my realtor, they had a person, and it was just easier. I just worked with that. You were already pre-approved. I already ran you through underwriting. I had all your docs. What do you mean? And of course, I mean, it doesn't take many of those before you just like, okay, well, congratulations. I mean, what can you say? You can't say anything. And then you
Yeah.
have to, go look yourself in the mirror, like, how did I mess that up? Well, I didn't follow up in a timely manner. Well, I
It got
didn't keep
lost in
in
my
touch.
Excel spreadsheet.
It got lost. Yes, it got I I relied on my memory to follow up, you
Hmm.
know? And I mean, how many times does that happen? So, okay, I wanna talk about that deeper. What's the best way? So, you were kinda hinting at, maybe you weren't, but this is what I heard, is that maybe there's too much. Maybe following up too much is a bad thing too. Like, is there a specific amount of time that should pass between when you're contacting? Is there a time that's too long? What's the sweet spot?
So I think it depends on the status, depends on the type of the industry. It depends where in the sales cycle they are. on how much, obviously, when someone is, goes from a hand raiser to I'm ready, you want to start leveling up and speeding up that communication as they get closer and closer. It's just being able, trying to identify that. And I think one of the beauties of Shape is that we've, through the billions of leads, we've developed a remarketing strategy that every one of our industries use, that we use internally as ourselves, um, that works and that helps maximize conversions. Is it perfect? It's not. Nothing's ever perfect, and it's constantly evolving
Yeah.
to optimize on that. But you need to start somewhere, and I think too many don't don't have any strategy for remarketing their people outside of, I have a half hour today. Maybe I'll call a couple people I haven't talked to in 2 months.
Gosh, and that half hour is on Friday at 3 o'clock, and like, actually, I'd rather just go home. And like, that's generally what's going to happen. Or it's the end of the day on a Tuesday, and you're like, man, I'm exhausted. I got my ass kicked all day, and I don't want to do this anymore. And a lot of things can be automated. Like, you don't even have to pick up the phone. It could be a text
Yeah,
message, an email, whatever it is. So, okay, you mentioned this too. Is that you mentioned billions, and Danny told me billions. Is it really billions? Like billions with a B, not millions, not hundreds of thousands, billions.
it is.
Wow. So like based on a billion tries at it, this is what works.
Yeah, and it's growing every day. I mean, we constantly are taking data. Um, I think one of the greatest things in our utilization of AI is something that came out a while ago, not super new, but is our lead scoring AI. So just like a lot of different systems will have like lead scoring, whereas this is my ideal client profile, and I'm going to add 5 points if this loan amount is this size, or if they open an email, I'm going to add some points, and that's all great and dandy, but it doesn't necessarily optimize to conversions. It's like an ideal profile, but is it right? And what the AI lead with our what our lead scoring does is it takes those characteristics of closed sales and identifies ones that have commonality. And then as it sees early funnel opportunities that have a similar commonality, it bubbles those up to the top. And that I think is something that no one, no matter how great their memory is, no one can do. No one can understand, 75 different or 100 different characteristics of a particular lead quality that are identified as something that, oh, this person's not a hand raiser. They're going to close soon. I think that's like a priceless uh, value. There's no value. You can't put value on something like that.
I
It's
mean, it's
priceless.
fascinating. It really is fascinating to think about that because you were talking about like, here. First up, a lot of people don't even know what their ideal client is. But what if you could plug AI into it and take, okay, what are your 100 last closed clients? What is the same out of all of them based off of 80 or 100 data points? And what if during the process you realize, and here I did this manually to myself. So, like for instance, call attempts. I had my assistant at one point look at my last 2 years of closings, and I figured out, I asked her, I was like, on what call attempt did we make first contact? And that where it led to a closing. And I was calling, I think, 15 times at this point before I would give up, which is too many. I figured out that only one closed with call attempt 12. The next one was call 7. So, like, every single time, other than one instance, after me calling a lead record after 7 times, only one time did it result in a closing, and it wasn't worth it. It was a total cluster. I should have not called it. I should have not closed it. It would have been so much better for me to have just given up on 7. But it was worse than that. It was only like, I think 1 or 2 were on 7. I think it was 1. And then there's, I think, 1 at 6. I don't think there was any at 5. And then there was a couple at 4, a couple more at 3, way more at 2. And then like 70% more was call 1. And that's the type of thing that you learn when you actually look at the data. And it surprised the crap out of me because here I am thinking like that. And then I changed my entire call strategy. I'm not calling after 6. Why? I'd be better off really
Exactly.
optimizing and following up with people that are actually like in my funnel already than just wasting all of my time leaving voicemails for people. So I'm kind of going all over the place, but like, imagine if AI could tell you based on all of your past closings, what I did on a very micro level on how many calls to make. Imagine if it was doing that with texts. Imagine if it was doing that with credit score, with loan amount, with real estate agent picked out, with area that they're looking in. Imagine if it figured out that this is your ideal customer based on this. And by the way, this is the ideal strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it just makes it's all about working smarter, not working harder, accomplishing more in a shorter period of time.
100%. And then innovation, you mentioned that. Man, it's got to constantly be changing. I'm sorry, but the way that you did things in 2020 can't be the way that you did things in 2023. And too many people are doing things the same way that they did them in 2012, 2013 rather than 2023. And I'm sorry, but did it work then? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was the most perfect way to do it in 2013. But I'm sorry, man, it's just gone through so many renditions that the best way to do things is not that same way. If you're not innovating, you're doing it the old way. If you're not taking new data and adjusting your approach, you're not doing it the best way. You have to constantly be changing, and it is an evolution, and you have to be ready to change. And if you don't, somebody else is going to change, somebody else is going to innovate, and they're going to beat you.
And we, you had mentioned too, it's like different industries. I'll give you an example of an insurance industry. Spoke with an insurance agent the other day, and we were just talking about his book of business, and and how many policies does that book of business equate to? And he said, well, that's roughly about 10,000 policies. I'm like, okay, well, how many does the average person have? He's like, about two. And he's like, so you have 5,000 clients? And he's like, yeah. And how do you keep up with them? He's like, I don't. I just hope they stay with me. Because he
Right.
has no ability to manage 5,000 clients while still growing his business unless he automates it.
Right. 100%. 100%. So, all right, we've kind of gone to a bunch of different places with this, and we're kind of coming up at our time. I mean, Kevin, I'm gonna have you back. We're gonna talk. We're barely every single time that I'm done with. I'm listening to somebody. We're scratching the surface.
Scratching the surface.
We
Yeah,
just we
absolutely.
really every single time. But I want to keep this very high end, and I want to create some short form little clips that are super impactful. So I have a couple of different questions that I was asking Danny and Scott. This is one of them. When you do a demo with someone that's considering Shape, what are the top 3 things that Shape does as far as a solution that their CRM doesn't? What are you hearing most of the time? Top 3 things that Shape does that another CRM solution doesn't do.
I think the number one thing value add that I think Shape has is its mobile application.
Wow, yeah,
Very few very few of our competitors have a fully functioning mobile app. Something that I can do pretty much anything I do on my desktop, I can do on my phone. And in some industries, it's imperative that they be able to do things on their phone because they're not in front of their computer all day. Whether you're a solar installer or an insurance agent or an accountant, you're on the road on having lunch, having meeting with people in person. Being able to have access to that data in your phone is so important, and I think that puts us way ahead of the competition in many cases.
I mean, my God, and you can do everything from the mobile app. I think that's mostly everything from the app, and that's just I think anything that a lead caller is going to do. Imagine if I'm driving to a closing that's an hour away. Imagine if you could do your whole call session, leave all the notes, have it all perfectly done for you on your way there, and then follow up with people and do your theme day on the way back. Okay, so that's one mobile app. What's 2?
I think the fact that it's out of the box, fully built in, it's ready to go, using best practices. The amount of time it takes to get in and using Shape is so short. There isn't, let's have onboarding 4 days of onboarding calls and scope out what this build out is going to look like, and then give you a check or give you a bill and let you know how much it's going to cost to build this out and get it the way you want. It's there to already day one.
Man, I spent $70,000 with Scott, scoping out, building out the instance, doing it all. what if it was just everything is what we talk about on a daily basis anyway? Like, we're nerds about this, Kevin. Like, I
Mhm.
understand it, I think, on a high level, and you do too, but many people don't at all. And the only reason why we do is because I've done it 10,000, I've 10,000 talk tos.
Yeah.
You're not going to teach me anything new about what works other than like, look, you got to innovate and you got to do it and you got to constantly be changing. I guess my point is that like, I understand it, and where other people are like, they have to build it. Like, they have to figure it out. It's already figured out. What is the best practice? What works in your industry the best? Out of the box. Here you go. No $350 an hour setup fee, and you have to spend 100 hours doing it. Gosh, we are like 200 hours in. Really? And like, that's not even like, I'm just a loan officer team, with 5 employees, imagine if it's like a huge thing. So anyway, okay, so that's 1 and 2. What's number 3?
Um, I think it's just the simplicity of the UI. It's like it's so easy to use. It's dummy proof. Um, you get in, you go, you start working, you're done. And like you said, you mentioned before about the gym. You get in, you get out, and there's nothing much to think about, and all you worry about is doing your job and doing what the system tells you to do, and that's it. The rest takes care of itself.
And you get it done, you check the box. Okay, those are great top 3 things. Okay, so if you were to say, and this is something that I really struggled with, so I'm curious as to see what you say, is that I told you I went to a mastermind. Everybody has a CRM system, a solution.
Mhm.
Hey, I work for Shape. Oh, what does Shape do? Oh, well, it's it's a CRM, it's a lead management system, and it just freaking blows everybody out of the water. Okay, I mean, like, what does it do? Like if you were to say what does it do in like I'm at a cocktail party type of a situation. I'm just passing by somebody having a very quick high level conversation. Why Shape? What does it do? Why would I consider Shape as a lead management solution? Kevin says.
Shape will close more business. It's fully built, fully automated. Oh, I knew that would come. She'll stop in a second.
All good.
Hey, Pat, Jakey boy. Sorry.
It's okay. Keep it. No.
I'm sorry.
Hey, we're
I got
having
it.
we're having
Yeah.
a podcast, Jakey boy.
Right.
What's up?
So, yeah. What was the question again?
So okay, if we were, and this is great, we can start that over. I love it.
Okay.
So if you are me, for instance, I want to be better at this. I want to be able to be like, I personally know that Shape is an excellent software, is runs circles around the competition, solves so many problems, and is cheaper and is out of the box, all that stuff. But if I were to just say that to a client or to somebody that could potentially buy Shape,
Mhm.
it becomes way too much. So like in like a tweet, Shape does this, and that's why you should sign up. Well, and like, look, we'll schedule a demo. We'll dive deep
Mhm.
into it. But what's the draw? Why should I even sit through a demo of Shape? What is it going to do for me?
You'll close more business.
Elaborate.
It's a fully automated system to take your opportunities and push more of them to close, regardless of the industry. Um, it's Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as that. It is making your is dummy proofing your sales process. I mean, it's a tough question.
Yeah, I know it is. I know.
It's
I'm kind of happy you're struggling answering it because
Yeah,
I didn't have anything to say. So like you're light years
yeah,
better than what my answer was. But here, you'll
uh,
close more business. I think it
yeah.
really is just that simple, and it sounds so cliche, but that's just what I'm talking about. It's just like, how do you say it and not sound in something like I've heard before, or like
It's
uh,
that simple.
That's what every CRM system, every lead management, they all say that. Okay, that's actually that's a great rebuttal. Kevin, that's just mine does that too. They already do that. And I'm considering going with another place. They say the same thing. So are you sure? Like, why you?
We can take it from we can take we can take an opportunity from lead intake all the way to fulfillment, um, and then back again through remarketing. Um, Man, that's a tough question. That's a
I
tough one.
know. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
All right,
feature and benefit.
I'll answer it this way. I'll answer
Okay,
it this way.
yeah, go ahead.
So we stick in mortgage, and one of the things we come against, you mentioned Total Expert, you mentioned Velocify. I think there's a lot of systems out there that do something really well.
I agree.
There isn't anything else out there that says outside of Shape that does everything really well.
I agree. That's great. Uh, you're right. You're totally right. And like Velocify, I would only use it because of the priority view. I
Mhm.
can't call hundreds of leads a day unless it's a priority view. I'm sorry, I'm not going to copy and paste a phone number into a dialer system. I can't do it. And then
Yeah,
also, but I also can't sit there and program Velocify. There's no drag and drop. There's no anything. And there's nothing out the box. It has to be built from the ground up. Same with Salesforce. Same with Total Expert. You have to have your journey. You have to have the whole way built out. And a lot of times you have to involve corporate to do that. A lot of times you have to involve all sorts of other people. Yeah, out of the box, it's there. Okay, final question is that
sure.
what are you most excited about for the future? So like what's coming to Shape that's just going to blow everybody's socks off?
So I think that um, I'll answer. I'll start by this. I'll start by saying the reason I'm here. There's a reason I'm here, and it's because there is just isn't anything like it. Like this, the organization, the opportunity, the product is amazing. Very few of our competitors have a roadmap, let alone are innovating. And I think well, I know from a technical perspective, there are innovations coming out that are going to be game changing, that are going to automate virtually the entire process for the sales rep, that are going to create just so many efficiencies from a sales perspective. Are going to take the things that we do really well. Like I mentioned before, like I think 65% of our clients that we use Shape with come from our remarketing and retargeting, and I think that speaks volumes.
There really isn't anything else like it. I'm glad I'm asking you these questions because I'm going to regurgitate these answers to people that ask me. You're right, let alone the innovation and every like there's people there's companies I've mentioned, like what have they innovated or changed in the past 12 months? But let's go even further and even more embarrassing. What have they done in the past 5 years? Is it the same thing? There's several systems that like run on Internet Explorer. I mean, like, to just like break it down into something where like, you're kidding me? Where it's just like, I said it like this. It's like the difference between Internet Explorer and Google Chrome, the distance between those two doesn't even compare between the distance between Shape and every other solution out there. It's like it's so much further away, the distance. And you're right, it's everything in one at like, and it's not even like it's a B level at everything. Everything is it's actually better or the same as the best. And I agree. So okay. Um Final words, Kevin. Put you on the spot.
Final words.
I know, right?
Um, yeah, I just, maybe I've drank in the Kool-Aid, but I think that this product, this Shape is an amazing, amazing product. that's only getting better. That's only growing. That's only going to add functionality to encompass truly an all-in-one sales and marketing platform. And I'm ready. I'm excited for this journey, and this is going to be a fun ride.
Brother, I love it. All right. So, in closing, if you listened to this and you've taken some value about this, maybe you liked it, maybe you hated it. If you could do me a favor, can you shoot us a rating and maybe make a comment in the rating about what you liked, what you didn't like? That'd be super helpful in what we do to create more content. And then I'm going to have an exit on here, Kevin. So just for the recording, we're going to have an outro where people can go to connect and to get more information, set up a demo, and also a discount code, just so that we can track who's listening to this and who isn't. All right. Thanks for the shape into shift into shape shift podcast. We'll figure out what's the best. Thanks, Kevin.
Sounds great. Jimmy, thanks so much.